An incentive is something that makes a behavior more or less attractive. In a daily situation, a discount encourages a customer to buy sooner. The link is that people respond to rewards, penalties, convenience, risk, and recognition. Once that link matters, small changes in payoff can change large numbers of decisions. Money is only one incentive. The clearest example is a worker may choose a flexible job over a higher salary. The explanation starts with time, status, comfort, safety, and autonomy also shape behavior. The consequence is ignoring non-money incentives leads to bad predictions. Penalties change behavior too. For example, a late fee pushes customers to pay before the due date. The reason is that the expected cost of delay rises. That can mean people often adjust before they fully agree with the rule. Businesses design incentives carefully. In real life, sales commissions can motivate selling but may encourage pressure tactics. The pressure comes from this. The reward shapes what employees focus on. The result can be a poorly designed incentive can create the wrong behavior. Customers respond to convenience. Think of one-click checkout increases purchases because friction is lower. The process works because effort is a cost even when the price is unchanged. Over time, making a choice easier can be as powerful as making it cheaper. Government policy uses incentives. A simple case is this. Tax credits can encourage solar panels or business investment. The important driver is that public rules change private calculations. That is why the result depends on how people interpret the benefit and who can access it. Incentives can backfire. You might see it when paying children for every book may reduce the joy of reading. What matters underneath is that external rewards can crowd out internal motivation. If it is ignored, the behavior may continue only while the reward remains. Hidden incentives explain strange outcomes. One ordinary version is a doctor paid per procedure may behave differently from one paid per patient outcome. The mechanism is that payment structure shapes attention. The practical effect is what looks like personal preference may be system design. Risk changes incentives. Consider insurance can reduce fear of loss but may also reduce caution. The hidden part is that protection changes the cost of risky behavior. The outcome is often that good systems balance coverage with responsibility. Social incentives are powerful. The pattern shows up when a person recycles more when neighbors can see the bins. The moving force is that approval and embarrassment affect choices. The risk is that reputation can move behavior even without money. Deadlines create urgency. In a daily situation, an expiring offer makes waiting feel costly. The link is that time pressure changes the perceived payoff. Once that link matters, people may act faster and think less carefully. Information can be an incentive. The clearest example is restaurant hygiene grades encourage cleaner kitchens by making quality visible. The explanation starts with public visibility changes the reward for good behavior. The consequence is transparency can shift choices without direct punishment. Incentives differ across people. For example, a student with savings reacts differently to a scholarship than one with debt. The reason is that the same reward has different value depending on circumstances. That can mean policy works unevenly when people start from different places. Short-term incentives can harm long-term goals. In real life, a company cutting maintenance may improve quarterly profit while increasing future failure risk. The pressure comes from this. The reward window matters. The result can be people optimize what is measured and rewarded now. Good incentives align private action with desired outcomes. Think of a bonus for customer retention can encourage better service. The process works because the reward supports the real goal. Over time, alignment reduces the need for constant supervision. Bad incentives reward appearances. A simple case is this. A school judged only by test scores may teach to the test. The important driver is that measured results can replace deeper learning. That is why people chase the metric instead of the mission. Choice architecture is incentive design. You might see it when placing healthier food at eye level changes cafeteria behavior. What matters underneath is that environment changes the easiest option. If it is ignored, people often follow the path with the least friction. Incentives explain patterns, not every individual. One ordinary version is some people act against financial reward because of values or emotion. The mechanism is that humans are not machines. The practical effect is incentives raise probabilities rather than controlling every choice. Whenever behavior looks confusing, look at the payoff. Ask what is rewarded, what is punished, what is easy, and what is visible. The hidden part is that the answer often sits in the system around the person. The outcome is often that change the payoff and the behavior may change. Incentives becomes clearer when it is tested in ordinary life. Take late fee pushing payment before due date. The point is visible in a late fee pushing payment before due date. The choice changes because incentives changes the pressure around the decision. What matters is the real consequence for the people involved, not just the clean definition of incentives. When the example is concrete, incentives stops sounding abstract and starts looking like something people deal with in real conversations, bills, deadlines, and relationships. Another useful angle is bonus changing sales behavior. A bonus changing sales behavior shows how one background condition can change the outcome before anyone calls it a big event. For incentives, the hidden force is the reward or penalty that changes what feels worth doing. Once the reward structure is visible, behavior looks less random and more connected to the system around it. Incentives make sense when they are shown in action, because the same reward or penalty can push different people in different directions. A weak reading blames only personality and misses how the rule quietly encourages the action. In the case of scholarship affecting study time, the final result may look simple from the outside, but the pressure was already building before anyone noticed it. Better judgment starts by asking what the arrangement pays for, punishes, delays, or makes easier. A practical example is doctor payment model shaping attention. The practical point is not to memorize a slogan about incentives. The practical point is to redesign the nudge when the current nudge keeps producing the wrong behavior. That contrast explains why the same reward can motivate one person and barely affect another. Most confusion around incentives comes from missing that hidden exchange and focusing only on the surface event. Incentives do not control people like machines, but they tilt choices. Good judgment looks at what the system rewards before blaming only personality. A final example, discount moving a purchase earlier, shows why this matters before the outcome becomes expensive, stressful, or emotionally charged. The strongest takeaway is to inspect the reward structure before judging the behavior. The practical point is to redesign the nudge when the current nudge keeps producing the wrong behavior. Once those parts are visible, incentives becomes less mysterious and much easier to handle in daily life. Before blaming character, ask what the system rewards, what it punishes, and what it makes easy. A small discount, fee, bonus, deadline, or approval signal can quietly move behavior long before people explain their choice in words.